everybody. Let me wait for Irene to join me.
Hello and good evening. Oh my goodness, I went on mute just as we started. Welcome to Africa Thrive Live. I'm very excited to be one of your co-hosts today. My name is Irene Okoye from South Africa, and with me is the ever graceful, elegant, and smart co-host, Naomi Kirungu. Naomi? Just as I wait for Naomi to just unmute herself. Naomi, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, Irene, I can. Sorry, my bandwidth is a little horrible today, but we'll soldier on. First of all, you look really nice. For those who don't know me, my name is Naomi Kirungu. I am based here in Kenya. And Irene and I both represent the African Management Institute. Yeah, so welcome to all those who are joining us on LinkedIn. We see you on YouTube and on Facebook. How about you drop a line on the comments and tell us, introduce yourself, tell us about your business. We just want to feature some of you. Yeah, tell us where you're tuned in from, tell us about your business, and we can get to feature and read some of those comments. And if this is your first time, tell us. And our usual veterans, we look forward to seeing and reading your comments. We see Amy, she's here from Rwanda, and Innocent joined at 5 p.m. Irene, that was quite early. So it's really nice to hear from all of you. Introduce yourself and tell us about your businesses. Yeah, I've really missed having this conversation, Irene. Last month we missed a session because we were doing it in French. So I don't know how you feel about that, but I really, really missed our audience and missed you doing this with you.
Yeah. The most fun part about what we do is we get to engage with you, the entrepreneur. We get to have conversations with people who are walking along the journey and just hearing what they're up to, and with the hope that that will inspire you as you walk along the entrepreneurial journey. So it was awesome to have our colleagues Camille and Maurice step in and have the first ever French version of Africa Thrive Live. See, I believe in innovation and I believe in always pushing the envelope. And that in essence is what AMI stands for, always trying to push the envelope. So we try to push the envelope on Africa Thrive Live by having a French version of it. So if you tuned in last month, please do tell us what your experience was. We'd like to just find out if it was interesting for you, whether you'd like to explore it in different languages. So that would be really cool. Naomi?
I'm just glad that our French community, we always talk about how Africa Thrive Live and AMI is a Pan-African institution, and we know Pan-African does mean both Francophone and Anglophone Africa. So it was just nice to have something that included our Francophone participants, and we will be doing those every quarter. So tune in for those as well. So allow me to introduce AMI to you in case this is your very, very first time to interact with us. The African Management Institute, short for AMI, we exist to enable ambitious business managers and entrepreneurs to build thriving businesses. And we do this through practical tools and training. So like I said at the very beginning, we also want to get to know you and your business. So do introduce yourself. And as you do that, I'll give you a second to do that. And then I want you to come in and listening to something. So just drop what you're doing. If you're doing something, there's an important announcement I want you to listen to. So lean in. So are you an entrepreneur? You're probably an entrepreneur. Or if you're not an entrepreneur and you listen to this broadcast, you know people in your network who are your family, your friends, anyone within your network. And one thing we know for sure is running a business is tough. There are a lot of times we scratch our heads, we bang our heads on the walls. We maybe don't do that literally, but we do have sleepless nights about things affecting our business. And it could be issues like, for instance, now during after the disruption yesterday, and it's the topic we're talking about today, something around you were able to sort of survive last year, but now you're looking at building a sustainable revenue, something that can go back to how revenue was streaming in before COVID. Yeah, it could be how you manage your team and how you sort of just bring out the best in them now that people are working remotely and the work, the way we know it, has been disrupted. It could be succession if you're at a later point of your years and you're thinking, okay, so what will happen to my family if I'm gone, and who will I leave this business with? How will things run? There are so many things that affect us. It could be like I was talking to an entrepreneur a few days ago, and we're talking about just tracking your inventory, like they're in transport and things. There are things that just happen that you didn't even expect to happen. Yeah, all those things that we really grapple with. Yeah, so first and foremost, I want to let you know that you're not alone. Yeah, the challenges that you're going through are not just unique to you. Other entrepreneurs go through the same things, and I just want to let you know that we are here to support you. The reason AMI exists is to support you grow your business and grow it sustainably. Yeah. So last year we launched a program called Survive to Thrive, and we've supported over 200 entrepreneurs just because we just wanted to help entrepreneurs to be able to navigate and deal with the challenges of running a business during a pandemic. And what we've seen is over the 200 businesses that have gone through the program, 91% of them are saying that they are much stronger now. So we just wanted to let you know that the Survive to Thrive program has open enrollment for the July intake. So it's something that you can really take advantage of. And you'll be seeing that link on your screen or on your chat as we go along. So it's just something I wanted to let you know that it's there and we are here to support you, and that's why we exist. So these conversations we have on Africa Thrive Live are great, but we don't go into in-depth in terms of just a deep dive for your business and helping you solve some of those challenges. So how about you come along and we help you grow your business? Yeah. So that's our official announcement of today, and I want us to now listen to Queen Bee. And for the beehivers, are they called beehivers? This, I'm not talking about Beyonce Queen Bee. I'm not talking about that Queen Bee. I'm talking about the African Queen Bee. Her name is Pauline, and it's a Survive to Thrive story, and I'd like you to listen to it. Just let's watch this together.
My name is Pauline Achieng Otila, Managing Director, Apiculture Venture, also known as the Queen. My passion for bees and honey was stemmed from the fact that I had once worked in a beekeeping company. Then I got an opportunity to go and study in Israel. So I was able to learn a lot about beekeeping and honey production. When I go back home, I definitely had a dream to start a company like Apiculture Venture. My business journey before MI, being a female entrepreneur and also venturing in a space that women are sort of scared of, it was hard. It wasn't easy. I can't say it's not even easy right now. But then after AMI, there are things that I really picked as an entrepreneur. We're able to discuss some of these things and how they're coping, and not necessarily copy how they do it, but implement one or two of the things that I've learned in AMI in running my business. Being part of AMI Survive to Thrive program, there's one thing that stands out for me in my business that I can't fail to mention, is being able to communicate what is the vision of this company and where we are headed. And this has been able to make communication very easy within and without the company. And that's one thing I'm really proud of. And then again, it's gained my confidence. I didn't know I would really talk to a large group of people, be it either online or outside. During the COVID period, of course, there was challenges. Every business were facing different challenges. But of course, through this program, AMI Survive to Thrive, if you consider yourself a thriver, we'll come up with ways to thrive. One of them is having flexible working time for my staff. So I thought out of the box and came up with different products and also diversify. But again, you cannot survive and thrive if you do not have people guiding you. So some of the activities that I adapted, and some of the models that I adapted to survive so that I can thrive, I definitely picked them from AMI. And every single thing I picked and noted down was definitely to make the organization better.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. So in case you want to find out how to join the Queen Bee, African Queen Bee, we will post details of the Survive to Thrive program after the broadcast, but definitely join other entrepreneurs and find out how you can learn. And of course, the more skills you equip yourself with, the better you can navigate the challenges. And I've just been reminded that today is World Bee Day. Is it Bee Day, Naomi? Yeah, so it is World Beekeepers Day. So happy.
Yes, it is, Irene. It is World Beekeepers Day today.
If that's the thing that we should celebrate, and I think we should, I want to wish everybody who is a beekeeper a happy World Beekeepers Day. All right, just before we get into the topic, I just want to shout out some people who have joined us. We've got Emmanuel Akio, who's joined us from Tanzania, Karibu. We've got somebody who's joined us from Rwanda. I think Naomi had already said hello to you. We've got Joseph Guyumba, who's watching from LinkedIn. He's asking about our methodology. We would be happy to respond to that after the broadcast. And of course, you can visit our website. We've got a lot more information there. And we've got Julian Nambuya, who's a film producer in Uganda. Wow, welcome. And we love your program. We love you too for watching. Thank you. And then we've got Alex, who's following from Kenya. Karibu, and yeah, so please do tune in, invite your friends, keep posting questions and comments as we go along. So in just bringing context to today's conversation, tonight's conversation, I was watching a documentary recently on CNBC, and they were talking about how Coca-Cola has changed. That's actually the title of the documentary. So how Coca-Cola is doing things differently. And there were so many valuable things that the documentary was talking about, how the brand itself has evolved. Just like with any business, just like your business will at some point have to evolve, putting in mind all kinds of disruptions that have happened in the past year. The most interesting thing for me that caught my attention was not even how they've pivoted as a result of the pandemic. It's actually how they responded to disruption before. So they've realized that a lot of people are switching from soft drinks, because of the high sugar that is commonly in beverages, to other alternative, less sugary beverages, if you want to call them that. So in realizing that the market is moving towards something else that's healthy and a healthy alternative, they decided, okay, to invest in two different markets that they had never ventured into. So they've produced their first alcoholic beverage, which is first of its kind, being Coca-Cola, which is a soft drink company. And then something else that they've ventured into is it's a power drink, for a sports energy drink. That's also something that's quite different from what they've been doing. And when the CEO was talking about what's really worked for them, especially in the context of the current pandemic and the disruptions thereafter, he spoke about the fact that what's been really the sweet spot has been looking at what the customers want, what kind of messaging, especially in the marketing, that customers want to listen to and customers want to resonate to or are resonating to. So that's one area. And then the other area that they've put a lot of focus on is innovation, which is how most of our businesses need to start looking at how to do things and how to do things better and how to evolve. So I know you might be sitting there thinking, well, Coca-Cola is a big company. They probably have a huge budget for research and development. So what can a small business like me do? And that's why I want to bring it closer to us. So as a result of the pandemic, a lot of us businesses decided to either work on what Naomi put so well and eloquently. She talks about self-preservation. That's where a lot of businesses were at the beginning of the pandemic last year. And a lot of measures that many businesses took were around how to try and contain my expenditure or my cash flow in the short term, make plans in the short term. But a year on, we have to look at our business strategy. We have to start relooking at things, because we're never going to go back to what used to be. You know, a lot of people were saying, let's wait for things to get better or for things to go back to normal. There is no normal. Our new normal, this new world, has caused and also demands for us to start thinking differently from a strategy point of view. How do we run our businesses? Is it sustainable? What kind of strategies do we need to look at? But also remembering the dream. Why did we start what we started? Are we still there? Are we not there? Or have we moved ahead of what we were doing? Have we had to close our businesses? Where are we? And that's a conversation that we want to have tonight. And before we welcome our guests, I want to pose this question to you. Please share in the chat, tell us where you are as a business in terms of your strategy. Have you had to re-strategize? Are you in a new space as a business? We want to hear from you as much as we want to hear from our guests. Naomi?
Yes, we do. I can see, just to read a few comments before we bring in our guests. B Sugar is saying he's tuned in from Kenya. I like the name, the fact that we are celebrating Beekeepers Day. And so it's nice to see some of the people in that particular industry tuned in. And I'm really, really excited, Irene, like you've eloquently said, about the conversation we are having today, and also people's thoughts around what are you actually doing to sort of build sustainable revenue this year, despite the distraction. So to have this conversation, we are joined by Mathapelo Montsho. She'll tell me if I got her second name right. And Paul, she's based in South Africa, and Paul Mwirigi. So help me introduce them. As you know how we do this, just go to all the emojis you can see there, the hand claps and the likes and the loves as we get them on the screen. Allow us to get them on. Hi, Mathapelo. It's nice to see you.
Hi,
and hi, Paul. It's nice to see you. How about you guys introduce yourselves to us? Tell us who you are. Let's start with you, Mathapelo.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. I am Mathapelo, and I am a co-founder of a company called Cook. We are in the hospitality industry, and we basically have a cooking studio in Bryanston where we run team buildings as well as any celebration that one would like to do, and as well as a catering company where we cater for corporates as well as social events.
Great. It's nice to meet you, Paul. Let's try to see if you can hear us. Are you able to hear us? Could you introduce yourself? So we'll just check on Paul's connection, and then we'll pull him back in to have this conversation with us once he's back on. Mathapelo, I'm curious, and Irene as well. What's on your playlist? What are you listening to that's keeping you pumped up? What's going on?
I listen to a lot of motivational speaking. That's what actually I listen most to, and a bit of music, jazz there and there, just to like keep me relaxed, not going too crazy. But yeah, most of the time I would listen to like a sermon or something of that sort.
Cool. Irene?
I'm going to be honest and say that I'm listening to the African giant, Banner Boy. Oh my goodness. He really is an African giant. So Mathapelo, I'm adding that to your playlist as well.
I will take a note of that, and I will make sure that I listen sometime this week.
Great. I'll send you some decent music. Don't worry.
Sure. Thanks, I need it.
We seem to have Paul back. Paul, can you hear us? Are you able to introduce yourself?
I think Naomi will just
Paul,
proceed.
can you hear us? I'll try one last time. Okay, we seem not to be getting Paul or having technical problems, so we'll just go ahead with the conversation, Mathapelo. And we just wanted to get to know you better before we talk about why Cook and your business and how you are doing all the amazing things that you're doing and how you're being in the theme of today, being in the same dream, but maybe taking a different path. Tell us about Mathapelo. Tell us about, so we'll try and get Paul's internet fixed, but tell us about Mathapelo growing up, yeah? How has your background influenced the woman you are today and the business that you're doing today?
It's been amazing. I come from a very big family. My grandmother had 12 kids. So we're very big and very united. And how we just grew up with love, cooking all the time, me doing all the cooking. But anyway, but it really has impacted where I am today. I grew up in Randfontein, a very small town in the west of Johannesburg. And I did everything Randfontein High, Randfontein Primary, Randfontein, like everything. But it has really molded me to the person that I am. And also, I studied at the University of Johannesburg. So a great impact has gotten from, I've really been motivated, and my mentors have been my grandmother and my mother, my late grandmother, sorry, and my mother. And they've been really my pillars. And yeah, like I've been their greatest headaches, but we've been good together. We've been really great.
Yeah, I suppose a headache is not a bad thing if it turns out successful, right?
Nah.
So let's just
let's get into.
Yeah, I guess your parents would probably have a different discussion with me about that. But anyway, let's just get into your entrepreneurship journey, where it all started. When did you get the spark that, hey, this is what I want to pursue?
So I've always had like an entrepreneurial spirit in me. I've sold ties, I've sold eggs, handbags, but within the space I was in, I used to work for L'Oreal South Africa, and the kind of food that they just made. So for me, I felt like, oh my gosh, there's no Black suppliers being utilized in this space, and I really feel like this is an opportunity. Going forward, I did like some temp job. I left L'Oreal and went elsewhere. And I actually then sparked that idea to say, hey, actually that opportunity that I thought of, the gap that was at L'Oreal, and I approached them and they were like, oh, okay, cool. No, like bring it on, right? So they really loved the taste and the flair. And it was just being that caterer that's Black and producing food that's convenient but really yummy and authentic, and a bit of luxury in it, and not your just traditional rice and stew, but like making it more sassy, putting in pizzazz, and finding different ways of making food. And that's how the journey of Why Cook really started.
Wow, that's really interesting. I just want to double tap on that authenticity part, because I know a lot of businesses start with the dream, right? They want to do something. And then it's very easy once you start actually doing your business, running your business, to get, because you're getting a lot of interest, right? It's very easy to lose that authenticity that you're talking about. And I just want to talk about how have you managed to maintain that authenticity as a business owner, and the integrity that you carry with what you do, how you run your business, and how you produce the food that you do, and also how you serve people.
So one thing that we've kept constant, and this is like where we don't change, is the food that we make. It needs to have a modern flair. Be nice, but have a modern flair, and that's what we've kept it. Trends and whatever can come, but we just sticking to it modernly. Like chicken feet. So we did what did we did chicken feet and put like some ginger twist to it. We made a dumpling burger, and it was at the DSTV Delicious, and everybody knows us for the dumpling burger because they had never heard of a dumpling burger or how it looks. So making food nice, but always putting a modern twist to it. So you always need to have a level of, I'm willing to go with the trends. I'm willing to change, but this is who I am, and this is where I don't change, and this is my speciality. So when trends come and when we look for innovative ways, we need to have that one thing, that one spark that will always resonate with your customers and your clients, that they will always get with you all the time. So yeah, that's how we've really tried to keep it going within our business.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. Something that I want to bring in, which is connected to the theme of today, has been around disruption. And I'm sure your business has also, in fact, it has been hard hit because it's one of the industries that have been highly affected, the hospitality industry. So I just want for you to, speak to other entrepreneurs, tell us about how the disruption has affected your business and how you've managed to adapt to, the disruption and the change.
So I would like to start off by saying, with that, there's twofold that you kind of have to partake in a business. One, you're an entrepreneur first, then two, you're a manager, and those things are very two different elements. The entrepreneur looks at opportunities that are in front of them, an opportunity that would lead the business into, hopefully, into more profit. It's an investment opportunity, right? And the manager is the one that implements and tries to get this crazy guy's idea and really runs with it, right? But sometimes as entrepreneurs, we get stuck and married to our idea and we don't evolve, and that's one of the fundamental funerals for SMEs. Like we're so stuck to this one business, this one way of running our businesses, that we don't want to change or evolve. And that's one of the lessons we had to learn. So the entrepreneurial journey in us, just before COVID hit, we built a cooking studio. Why we built the cooking studio, we don't know, but then we saw an opportunity that there was only 4 cooking studios in Gauteng per se. In Johannesburg, there were only 4. And the more we booked cooking studios, the more they were not available. But we built it in anyway, and cash flow was really going. The catering part was really sustaining us, and building this thing was not too much of a hassle. We got a loan from the bank. COVID hit. Oh my gosh, like trauma, the catering part, we had to close down. We had to find innovative ways of running the catering. But the reality is, we're not making the hundreds, the thousands, the millions that we used to make anymore as a SME, so how do you adapt from that? So the only thing, and now we have a studio that's newly built. We launched it in Feb. COVID hit in March, and like the heart failure. You have F&B calling you to be like, sorry, when are you going to pay your loan? And you're just like, listen, COVID happened, okay? So give me a break. But nevertheless, it's now the studio that is our bread and butter more than the catering. But that's the entrepreneurial journey to say, and the entrepreneurial journey was saying, look for another opportunity besides the catering. What else that is like catering, or that's in the same sector that you can do, And today, the cooking studio and the catering are like right behind each other. It's under one roof. It's so much easier for us to manage. But also, it's about learning a new business model, because we opened it and we're not really interested in really learning this thing because we had the cash cow. But COVID hit, and it's like, oh my gosh, so what do we do with the space? How do we get the space running? And yeah, towards the end of the year, last year, we were pumping. We were so busy. My feet were like really, really painful. But that's when we know that we are making money, because I mean, like this business is really hard on our bodies. But that's how we're able to sustain ourselves, to say, hey, the catering is not making money anymore. So what are we going to do about it? And even if the catering is not doing money, is not making as much money, how do we manage that? How do we come up with different ideas of catering to people? You know, do we start doing the individual packed meals? How do we market that? How do you put ourselves differently? Because now everybody's doing the individual packed meals. Hey, how about we cater for eventing specifically for the individual packed meals, unlike the funerals, etc., etc. So it's just about positioning yourself differently. Obviously, for us, we it's also accepting that you're not going to make the same amount of money that you're going to make as yet, but being positive and implementing it stage by stage, but also measuring if what you're doing works, which is very important.
Yeah, so a lot of people would argue that, maybe you had the luxury of a fund somewhere to work around it. I know you spoke about the pressure of having a bank calling you to say, hey, when are you going to clear this check or whatever? But what do you think is the main, I don't want to call it a secret sauce, but what do you think has worked for you, especially when just trying to get your mind to a point where you are constantly innovating, you're constantly looking for opportunities. So it's not even the way I'm listening to you right now, it's not necessarily that the disruption or the innovation was necessitated by COVID per se. Of course, it's a result later. When you look back, you can't say that it's that. But I feel like you've mentioned it so well that a lot of entrepreneurs are stuck on this is how we do things, and they're really afraid of venturing into something else. What do you believe has been that thing for you? What has kept you going and innovating and thinking out of the box constantly?
I believe, well, within the business, we believe in measuring where we are and where we want to go. So the gap in what I've seen with a lot of SMEs, we don't really measure. We don't measure our besides the finances. Everybody measures their finances, but is the marketing tool that I'm using working out for me? What actually works for my business? Do the mailing lists that I send via email, are they working out, or should I rather invest on promoting on social media? Small things that we don't look at as SMEs, especially when it comes to measuring. Everybody measures their finance. Oh my gosh, I did a good turnover. Great. Did you make profit? You're not sure. What are your expenses looking like? Yeah, you made 1 million, sure, but like, how much is your expenses? Maybe you just made 5,000 rand profit out of the 1 million, and it's so possible. But the thing is, we always wait for tragedy to happen before we measure, and that's, if we as SMEs can just learn to continuously measure. I mean, big corporates have KPIs all the time, but as SMEs, let's not have KPIs just on people. Let's have KPIs on the business performance, and not financially, but overall. And therefore we'll be able to be innovative, because then you'll know, oh, the problem is actually I'm using emails instead of social media. And maybe I'm not getting enough referrals. Or maybe most of my business comes from referrals. So maybe let me call my clients and ask them for a referral or two. It's just measuring our businesses. So even when it comes to sales, oh, okay, you've sent out 6 quotes. How many of those quotes have come back and turned into revenue? So we just send out quotes all the time. Oh, I'm looking for a quote. Call that person back. Why are they always calling you for a quote? And I know, like in South Africa, a lot of government departments, especially when you're on the National Treasury, a lot of people just want a quote from you, and those are some of the things that you can pick up. And sending a quote is time. So would you rather send a quote to someone who just wants a quote for the sake of a quote, or would you rather use your time in doing something else more enriching for the business? So it's about measuring everything we do within our businesses, and not just financially, for us to know what's our next step. And doing different things. Like, I loved the Queen Bee. She had soap, she had honey, she had so many products, but from one from a bee, you know, unlike someone who just has a beehive and that's it. So it's always about it being innovative within your business.
Mathapelo, you're throwing so many pearls of wisdom. We could make a necklace now. Yeah, no, that's tricky. But you said something that really resonated, because in the Thrive community, what we kept hearing was a lot of businesses went, in terms of survival, they went to things they had done but had not put a lot of effort on. When you're talking about your school, so there's this one thing they had started doing, they had thought, okay, maybe when I have time, maybe when I have money, I'll do this thing. And those are the things that made their businesses survive. So I really like what you've said there. And even on the comments, just to read some, there was gentleman on LinkedIn, Joseph, he said that we're in a space where he's currently running a recovery and restoration project and are using something framework, and he needs help in that area. Sorry, that was not the comment I was going for. Then there's Victoria, we are behind. Yeah, that's it. We are behind on measuring what works and what doesn't work, and we need to improve so much on this for our growth. I think you mentioned that, Mathapelo, when you're talking about just some of these things that we need to figure out in terms of tools and just small things that you're doing. And it really resonated to think about all these tools are available at your disposal. So you don't really need to reinvent the wheel. There are so many there's so many opportunities and for businesses now in Africa to leverage on these tools, and even like in the Survive to Thrive program, and even in other areas that I think a lot of entrepreneurs can leverage on. So I was just reflecting that on what you've said. I think we'll try and pull in Paul. Go ahead.
Just to add on, and people must. We've used social media so much for our business, and it's really worked for us. You know, people shouldn't be scared to DM anyone. The worst answer you could get is a no, and it's okay. Like, it doesn't change the slice of bread in your business. You know, so people should really use social media and like ask for whatever you want from whoever, and the worst possible answer is no.
Yeah, I like that. We'll try and give Paul, if he's there, just one more try to see if his internet has been fixed, and then as we keep going to the other questions that we have for you, Mathapelo, and the people who are listening in, please do write your comments. How are you sort of trying to build a sustainable revenue stream for your business? What has your experience been? Or any direct questions you have for Mathapelo, we'll get her to answer them. Paul, can you hear us? Seems like his internet is still not, we really tried, but it seems like his internet is still unstable. He did tell us that, actually we can go ahead and remove Paul. He did tell us that he's having work in a remote area, and you know this journey of entrepreneurship, if work calls, you go, yeah? So, so let's keep the conversation going. We have a few questions coming up. I see, Irene, there's a question there from Gilbert. You want to take it?
Sure. So Gilbert on YouTube is asking, how do you manage your cash flow now? Because most catering businesses are not paying their account and rentals. So he's basically just asking a question around your cash flow and how you're managing, considering that your industry has been really affected by the pandemic.
So we were lucky enough in, I think, December, like not December, late last year, during team building, whatever. And we were very busy, extremely busy, you know. And in our catering sector, the rule of thumb is peak season, it's between September and December. Like, that's when we all go crazy. Nobody goes on leave. You take whatever shots of whatever you need, you know. And our revenue really went up, and we were able to pay our accounts, our suppliers, rentals like 4 months ahead of time. So we had like a little bit of a breather between Jan and April, but it's always been our thing in business, in any catering sector. We know that between Jan, Feb, and March, we are hearing crickets. No one is really ordering. So we've always had that going. Catering is affected, but people are still ordering there and there. So I can't say we've really completely shut down. But what we have done in terms of our staff, we let them go as permanent employees, but now we take them on as temp staff. But it's the same staff we had. We kept them, and whenever we have still like 1,000 2-packs, we still call in our temp staff. So our catering business has not died completely. Our clients still call us from time to time, but we're also very big on social media, which has really worked out for us. So we, even during the pandemic, we cooked in our house. We tried being different.
Yeah. So Mathapelo, I'm just gonna go back to that point a little bit, because I know some of the restrictions at the beginning of the pandemic were even against buying catering establishments had been closed at that point. You had to have special permits to be able to do that. So this may not have been the case for your business, but I'm just wondering, for an entrepreneur who is sitting there and wondering, okay, what do I do? And interesting enough, we actually had one of the case studies on our bootcamp that we ran last year as a way to respond to this pandemic, and we provided those tools for free to SMMEs. We were talking about a case study of Cafe Paradise. If you've been to any of our sessions, I'm sure you've had Cafe Paradise to death. But anyway, so we were talking about what the best and worst case scenario has been for, and how businesses can do the scenario planning. So I'm just sitting here and reflecting on what you've said, but also putting myself in the shoes of, maybe the person who's asked, and they're thinking, wow, maybe I didn't have that latitude. What have you seen in your industry specifically? Maybe not in Cook, but other people in your industry. How have they managed to just navigate through?
A lot of collaborations, like our industry collaborated like there was no tomorrow. Like people collaborated. Hey, people really worked live with each other. People had cooking classes with each other. I think in the hospitality space itself, I met more chefs in my life during COVID more than any other time. I really heard of more chefs in my lifetime during COVID. So we're just trying to hear, what are you doing differently, or let's work together on this and this project. Am I able to use your space for like an hour to shoot something? The likes of something along those lines, so it was really, really more about collaborations, and the people who collaborated like still survived.
Mathapelo, I have a question around your industry. So you find that for a lot of us, we operate in similar industries and they are quite competitive. Like you can find catering. We've looked at people doing beekeeping. Queen Bee is not the only one doing beekeeping in Africa. So for a lot of entrepreneurs, the industries they enter, they are not unique. They don't really have a unique offering. It's not like a new technology or anything. How have you managed to survive and navigate in a competitive landscape where you're not the only one sort of offering this service? And what tips do you have for others?
So I've been very blessed, Yolanda and I'm my business partner, to really find ladies that support each other. The first lesson I learned within this business is stick to your lane. Don't try be everything to everyone, and those are the lessons that the first lesson that I learned. And once you specialize in something, you become so good that everybody just wants to book you. For instance, like I don't think we've catered at a funeral before, but there's people within our industry that we know these ones are really good at funerals. Even when a person I mean, the biggest thing we've ever done is it was the late Bry Hughes Memorial. That's as far as a funeral we go, But it's always referring people to the people who are really good at it, And those people will refer back to you. Like the lazy Makoti, she's been like really great within our space. She like she was, girls, I don't do mass catering. I'm gonna refer people to you. And there's so many people that has booked us because the lazy Makoti wrote an email, CC'd us and said, unfortunately, that's not the service or market I'm in, but here are some people that are able to help you out, So it's just knowing what you really specialize in and making sure you build a good network. I mean, I won't lie, we've been burnt before where you give someone work and someone tries to steal your client, whatever the case might be, like it's business. It's not a fairy tale life, but it's the learnings that to say you at the end of the day, experience is like the best teacher, but you have your circle and your network, like today, Chef D WhatsApp me to say, hey, someone is looking for a cooking studio. My place is not something that they looking for exactly, but here's the contact. I've referred you, So vice versa, when I see or hear an opportunity, I will link them up with whatever opportunity that I might have my way. But it's about building a good network and a good circle of people so that you're able to refer each other within the industry and not people who think that my circle and I, we always say the pie is so big. It's just about not being greedy about the pie,
Yeah, there's always market for everyone. I like that. There's a question. Yeah, there's a question here from Alex Kiptros, and it's a good question around, and maybe I can make it general, so it's not just about catering, where you as an entrepreneur are skilled, and that's the skill you're bringing to the table. And that's your business where you are the skill. And like, for instance, you're really good at cooking. And then you now have to run a business and things are growing and you're not the only one who can now sustain this demand that you have. How do you go about quality control in that case? So Alex is asking on YouTube, how do you manage your staff to ensure consistency in quality service provision and handling other tasks in general?
Okay. So you need to get people who are qualified for certain roles. So yes, I started the company, I cook myself, and. But now don't call me. Like, do not call me to come cook. Like, I'm that person that markets the business. I'm the face of the business, and. So now I know my skill. Like, the day I touch a knife in the kitchen, that means like we are extremely busy, and everybody knows. Like, we are extremely busy. There is no way I'm touching a knife, but it's to get someone who's qualified, who's an expert in that field. But you're going to teach that person how you run the business. So it's not here's a manual and hopefully you'll get it right. No, it's more on, are you doing it right? You always need to check. And us as owners, we always feel like once you've told a person once, twice, 3 times, they should get it. It's not the case. Like, that is, it's not going to happen. It's not the case, but we always need to make sure that we are measuring, are they getting it right? So if they're doing it wrong again, what seems to be the problem? Let's get to what seems to be the problem. So with my staff, we always making sure that we continuously training them on the standards and the procedures. It's not always where consistency will be right, but also spot checking. Like, I would tell them that I'm not coming in for this order. Like, I think you guys are fine. And then I'll just walk in 3 a.m. in the kitchen just to spot check if everything is fine, But they know that they can never trust if I'm going to come to the kitchen or not. So they always make sure that their A game is up, So always wanting staff to always get it right all the time. It's not necessarily the case, but making sure that we train our staff consistently. It's like teaching a baby how to walk. You hold them and then they fall, and then you hold them again, and then finally eventually they get it and they run, same concept. So other kids really are really fast and others aren't. And most of the time, stuff is not really that quick because also the environment changes so fast and not everybody is quick to change and adapt to the environment as well.
That's really brilliant. Because it's that same premise of hire the right people and entrust them to do the job. And you just made me think about the secret shopper. So you're not the secret shopper, the person who rocks. If you don't know what the secret shopper is, it's basically she's a secret shopper. So you'll think this is not the owner of the business. So you'll be doing your own thing out here, doing whatever you're doing. And the owner of the business comes dressed as a customer and just to assess what's happening. But I'm not saying that's what she is. She's admitted to it. But I'm just saying that's, at the essence of what you're trying to say is basically hire the right people and trust them. And I think they need to also look to you and know the kind of the authenticity that you run your business with. And I think they learn those values through how you carry yourself. So that's awesome. So you've alluded to this, you've touched on this aspect that I'm about to ask you, but we were just talking about things that entrepreneurs have found helpful in just navigating and running their business, in still remaining true to their business, remaining true to the why, but looking at an evolving business, a growing business. You've touched on technology, and more specifically, you've spoken about social media as one of the tools that you've used to help your business. Are there other things that you've learned along the way, in the past year that have been really helpful for you, whether it's networks or something else that has just made an impact on how you run your business?
So I would say the power of networking is very important, but what's more important is the relationship building. Because I might meet Naomi today. Yeah, Naomi, awesome, but also remember that I'm meeting Naomi because I'm increasing my network, not necessarily that I want something from her. We can have coffee, and it could be it, but just keep in touch. But 10 years down the line, Naomi will give me a contact that will give me a 10 billion rand business. I never know. But it's more about keeping the relationship, just checking on, Naomi, well done on your work anniversary. Happy birthday. Oh, it's your kid's birthday, whatever, But it's mostly, a lot of us go to networking seminars, a lot of us network, but do we keep the relationship oiled? Do we comment on Naomi's picture on social media? I don't know. But just making sure that your network really works for you, and that's one of the things that has really worked for us. Like during COVID, we really reached out to our network reached out to their network, and that's how we've really been able to sustain our business during COVID. So it's really, really about keeping the relationship, and not just networking and saying, "Oh yeah, I know Naomi." Yeah. No. Be like, she posted a picture last week of, that engaging kind of relationship.
I'm a true follower now. Like I do have a fan now who will comment on you. Better no matter you after saying all that, you better not forget my work anniversary and my birthday. Just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, super important, hey? Because I think a lot of businesses have realized that they cannot exist in isolation, as opposed to before where you thought, oh, if I network with these people or if I collaborate with those people, they'll take my idea and they'll use it. So a lot of it was acting out of fear. So people would not want to be together because they're afraid of what's going to happen. But now I think the pandemic has shown us that, first of all, we're human and we connect from a human perspective before we're even business owners. And I think it's a great reminder for all of us, join a network, start finding out what association you can be part of. There's so much strength and so much skills and experience that just goes along when one person hears, oh, okay, maybe we can't work together right now, but there's an opportunity in the future. And something that I want to ask you, and a lot of people might be thinking about it, is Is there anything at the moment that's causing you a sleepless night? Is there something that's giving you sleepless nights? I'm hoping it's just one night. That's why I started with nights. And then I thought it could be a lot of sleepless nights. But is there something, if you just reflect on your business at the moment and your trajectory so far, is there something that's just making you a little anxious or nervous?
Well, sustainability. I mean, during pandemic right now, nothing is really unknown, nothing is really solid. Everything is just trial and error for everyone. So it's more about sustainability and how do we even innovate more? What's the next step? How do we keep consistent in what we've implemented? But for me, it's about like what's the next step? Great, we've got the studio. Okay, let's get it going. Okay, and then what's next? You know, how can we evolve digitally? I don't know, like that's where we are really. Like just what's the next step? How do we overcome the next step? How do we think about it? Where are the opportunities? And this is why I also like speaking to different people. They might just poke your mind a little bit, give you ideas of something that you did not think about. So yeah, that's really where we are right now.
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs would resonate with that. They're thinking about what's next, with threats of a third wave. Nobody knows when all of us will get our vaccines. There's so many uncertainties that I can believe a lot of entrepreneurs are finding it very difficult to actually plan long term. In just coming back to the topic, what are 2 things that you'd like to advise entrepreneurs who are thinking about re-strategizing their business or just reviewing their strategy? What is your top 2 things?
Don't be married to the idea, guys. Like it saddens me so much that we always married to the idea, not willing to be flexible and adapt to change and change where necessary. That's my first thing. Like let's really be able to change and be flexible within our businesses and measure and I cannot stress it enough. Let's just not focus on our finances, but as a business holistically, let's try to measure that, you know. And I'll just put in a third one for you: network. You never know what your network will will give you, you know. But like, yeah, mine has been really, really awesome. Short one. So like, I would even say, so 5 years ago, I did a trip. It was like a round trip. So we left South Africa, Botswana, Zim, and it was like a really bunch. Like it was a lot of people, you know. And it was a Jameson New Year's party. But later, 5 years later, the people I met on the trip, one guy booked us about 3 times for his function. This is 5 years later. Like we just see each other on socials, and the other guy today is my business lawyer, you know. So it just shows you, like, you never know. I mean, I met these people at a party, so I never know. I never knew 5 years down the line, one would be my client and one would be my supplier. So it's really more about networking and let's adapt.
That's really amazing. I just want to pull this comment from Lebogang, who says, he quotes the quote that you just put out. He says, "Don't get married to the idea. So powerful, profound, yet difficult to do." Certainly. Right?
Very difficult. Extremely.
Yeah. All right. So I just want to ask you, in this moment right now, what are you most grateful for?
Oh, my family. You guys, like, my family. They're really great support structure. And they've really been there for me. So my family.
Cool. I think those 3 will stick with me. Don't get married to the idea. Measure, network. That's how we sort of build sustainability. I really like that, and thank you so much for your time, Mathapelo. I think for me, just reflecting on what how we've supported entrepreneurs and how we've worked with entrepreneurs, Irene, is I've seen entrepreneurs have this ability to just think broadly and we're talking about it. I wrote an article about it. That this ability to just use their life experiences to think broad. So they pick up something. My grandmother told me something, and then they're not specialists, but they're generalists. So you hear like Mathapelo, she's not the one cooking, but she's running, she's thinking, she's running a business, she's trying to network, she's measuring, she's trying not to stick to one idea. And I think for me, if you ask me, I know we started this conversation of how do we move into sustainability. I think we've tried to start the conversation. I hope you've gotten a few answers. But for me, I know that the raw ingredients are within us. We do have that ability to just think broad. And I think that's what will get us there. Our grit, which we know we have, plus that ability to just think of ideas and think more broadly, we will generate future revenues for our businesses that are more sustainable. So thank you all for your time. Thanks to our guests. Thank you, Paul. It's so unfortunate that we couldn't hear from him, but we'll be posting a video with some of the notes that he had soon on our community. And I just want to encourage all of you to if you're thinking of measuring and not getting stuck with the idea, if the idea is sticking in your head, how about you sign up for the Survive to Thrive program? Come and let us help you grow your business and build a sustainable business. The link is on the screen and also on the comments section. Before we end, Irene, I don't know if you have something to say, or shall I go ahead and end?
I think you need to go ahead and just mic drop.
Obama, no, I don't think. Tom told me that Tom is our director of marketing. He told me no one should ever attempt to do an Obama out. So I'll try and not mic drop. But thank you all. It was so much fun being back. And thank you all for your time. It was nice to catch up again. And thank you again, Mathapelo. She didn't tell us how to catch her, but I'm sure we can post her social media accounts on the comment section, and you can be able to reach her or reach out to us, and we'll be able to connect you to her. So on behalf of African Management Institute, Irene and myself have been your hosts, and until next time, have yourself a fabulous evening. Take care.